Hey everyone, how's it going? For today's video, we're going to be taking an in-depth look at the Mitsubishi Lancer Evolution MR. In this review, I'm going to cover all of the ins and outs of the Evo 9 and specifically highlight what makes the MR unique. A special thanks to my friends at Cosmo Motors of Hickory, North Carolina for providing this opportunity today. For more information about the dealership, including contact info and current inventory, please feel free to check out their website provided in the description box below. This is my first time driving an Evo in general, and I am having so much fun. This thing is an absolute riot. So, without further ado, let's go ahead and start her up and let her run. The Mitsubishi Lancer Evolution, or Evo as most people call it, was originally developed for the Japanese market to compete in Group A and Group N rally divisions. It became widely known for its turbocharged engines, all-wheel drive systems, and competition-focused engineering. However, they didn't make it to our shores until 2003 with the launch of the 8th generation, or Evo 8. It was positioned as a direct competitor to the Subaru Impreza WRX STI. Creating these Evos was no easy task, as Mitsubishi had to give the base Lancer a makeover so significant that the end result was almost entirely different from the economy car on which it was based. The transformation began with the base Lancer's steel unibody, which in this case had been around since late 2001. With additional welded seams and thicker reinforced suspension mounting points and body member connections, the Evo reduced body flex by 160% and doubled the torsional rigidity. Instead of using an all-steel body, the Evo used aluminum for the hood and fenders to save weight. The trim-stripped RS and range-topping MR edition also swapped out the standard steel roof for one made from aluminum to not only save weight, but to lower the car's center of gravity without having to physically lower roof height. The Vortex generators at the trailing edge of the roofline are an MR exclusive. The large hood vent draws out excess heat from the engine. The front bumper is not only aggressive, but is designed to feed more air to the brakes, intercooler, and differential. Along with a new air dam and front underbody cover, it also reduces lift at higher speeds. The front fenders and rear quarters were widened to accommodate a wider track. As a byproduct, the revised shape helped improve airflow across the sides. The side skirts and rear bumper are unique as well. This example has a JDM Mitsubishi rear bumper with a lower air diffuser. The large hollow deck lid spoiler is made entirely out of carbon fiber, including the inner and outer support sections. Pushed to the far edge, the spoiler adds an extra measure of downforce while at the same time reducing drag. The Evo 9 was released for 2006, right on the cusp of the all-new Evo 10, which was set to launch the following year. It was, well, an evolution of the Evo 8 that introduced updated styling and a host of other improvements. The front bumper in particular adopted a wider upper grille compared to the previous split design, and two oval projections towards the bottom that directed more air efficiently to the intercooler's input and output pipes. Pricing for the 2006 Lancer Evolution ranged between $28,679 and $35,189. Positioned right in the middle was the standard Evo, which could be had for $31,399 before options. The RS was bare bones and race ready, stripped down to the bare minimum to save about 200 pounds or so off the standard Evo. At the other end of the spectrum, the MR edition didn't sacrifice anything. Along with being pretty much loaded from the get-go, it also benefited from several exclusive features. All Evos were fitted with lightweight 17 by 8 inch wheels and 235/45 high-performance tires. These one-piece BBS forged aluminum wheels were exclusive to the MR edition, each saving 2.76 pounds of weight over the standard NK wheels. Bringing the car to a stop from 60 miles an hour takes about 110 feet thanks to four-wheel internally ventilated Brembo brakes. The fronts measure 12.6 by 1.26 inches, while the rears measure 12 by 0.87 inches. They're clamped down by 4-piston and 2-piston calipers respectively. The RS did not come with analog brakes, but the standard Evo and the MR edition had a specific 4-channel ABS system that was designed to improve steering response when braking and bring the car to a stop quicker, even on undulating surfaces. The ECU that controls the Sport ABS takes data from sensors recording steering wheel input, lateral G, and vehicle speed to apply the necessary pressure to each wheel independently. On top of that, standard electronic brake force distribution works in tandem to decrease the load placed on the front brakes to reduce the possibility of fade during hard use. Like all Lancers, Evos had hydraulic power-assisted rack and pinion steering, but it reacts to your inputs way faster thanks to a quicker 13:1 gear ratio. The closest regular Lancer as far as steering was concerned was the Rally Art, but with an overall ratio of 14.7, it was still a ways off. The Evo steering takes just 2.1 turns to lock, where a Rally Art took 2.86 turns to lock. The turning circle is measured at 38.7 feet. I especially like the Evo's height-adjustable Momo steering wheel. It's not too thick, has pronounced upper grip bolsters, and dark brushed metal spokes. The Evo's fully independent suspension was also significantly different from a base Lancer. The front consists of McPherson struts with inverted shock absorbers and forged aluminum lower control arms. The rear is a multi-link wishbone setup with forged aluminum trailing and lateral links and a cast aluminum crossmember. Additional lateral bracing comes courtesy of a front strut tower brace and a beefy front and rear stabilizer bar setup with thicknesses of 24mm and 22mm respectively. Along with the hefty dose of aluminum, the Evo's suspension has stiffer springs, shocks, and bushings. Also, the front and rear tracks are 1.7 inches wider. The design as a whole leads to a significant reduction in unsprung weight, greater lateral acceleration with averages around 0.95 G, and improved steering feel, not to mention greater agility from a faster reacting setup. With the MR edition, you received exclusive Bilstein shocks that not only improved handling stability over the standard setup, but also ride comfort to a degree. The Evo 9 was blessed with a significantly updated version of Mitsubishi's 4G63 2-liter turbocharged 4-cylinder. Developing 286 horsepower at 6,500 RPM and 289 pound-feet of torque at 3,500 RPM, it's able to hit 60 miles an hour in about 4.6 seconds and accelerate to a governed top speed of 157 miles per hour. Out of all of the internal and external updates, probably the most significant was the addition of MyVec, otherwise known as Mitsubishi Innovative Valve Timing and Electronic Control. This meant the 4G63 now benefited from variable intake valve timing to optimize combustion, improve breathing, increase horsepower, and allow for a higher 7,000 RPM redline. Basic engine construction consists of a cast iron block and an aluminum cylinder head that's finished off with a bright red magnesium valve cover. The compression ratio is rated at 8.8 to 1. Inside, there's dual overhead camshafts with 4 valves per cylinder, stronger forged aluminum pistons, forged steel connecting rods, and a forged steel crankshaft. The addition of MyVec also required the use of a new cylinder head casting and a thicker head gasket to increase strength and long-term durability and improve cooling. The Evo 9's twin-scroll turbocharger is larger and more responsive than the one used on the Evo 8. Peak boost is 20 psi. Some of the other important changes included a more efficient 2-piece piston ring package, which helped reduce oil consumption by 10%, a 7% higher capacity fuel pump, a new bell housing cover to reduce exterior noise, and a redesigned muffler for a more aggressive exhaust note. Mitsubishi offered a choice between 5 and 6-speed manual transmissions. Keeping true to its form, no automatic was ever offered. The 6-speed was exclusive to the MR edition and featured a 4.583 final drive ratio. The shifter offers a precise feel with positive engagement and a pull ring mechanism to help prevent accidental shifting into reverse. Power delivery is controlled by a full-time all-wheel drive system. At its heart is an active center differential that continuously splits torque between the front and rear wheels using an electronically controlled hydraulic multiplate clutch. A switch on the dash allows you to tailor the system's behavior based on changes in road surfaces. The 3 modes include tarmac, gravel, and snow. That's not all though. Torque delivery is further honed by a helical limited slip differential in front and a 1.5-way mechanical limited slip differential in the rear. EPA fuel economy estimates for the MR edition ranged between 18 miles per gallon in the city and 24 miles per gallon on the highway. In mixed driving, expect an average of 20 miles per gallon. Now let's go ahead and see if she sounds. While the exterior was dramatically different from a regular Lancer, inside things started to become more familiar. Now, Evos were dressed up quite a bit to create an environment that was both sporty and engaging, but for the most part the overall design is the same. There's a unique instrument cluster with auxiliary gauges in the lower console, a faux carbon fiber dash treatment, aluminum sport pedals, and more, such as these incredibly comfortable Recaro bucket seats. They offer manual adjustments for both sliding and recline, and offer good lateral support up top and down below, supplemental shoulder support, and fixed headrests. The standard audio system was a 140-watt 6-speaker setup with AM, FM, and an in-dash CD player, but if you really liked your music, Mitsubishi also offered a 7-speaker 315-watt Infinity system with a trunk-mounted subwoofer. Interior safety features include dual-stage front airbags. What I've really come to appreciate about cars of this era is how simple everything was. The radio, climate controls, and all that good stuff is within easy reach, but it doesn't take a rocket scientist to operate. There's also plenty of storage between the console and glove box. For its size, the Lancer's back seat is pretty generous. I didn't have any trouble sitting back there, and I'm 5'10". There was actually a little bit of room left over. It's not the most comfortable place to be, but there's a fold-down armrest with 2 cup holders, child seat anchors, and upper grip handles. All in all, the Lancer is a fairly practical car. Sure, it could seat up to 5 people, but it also has a pretty good amount of trunk space. There's 10.2 cubic feet worth. One downside is that you can't fold down the rear seat and there's no trunk pass-through, so you can't really stick long items back there, but there's a wide opening and a fairly deep well. Underneath the trunk floor, you also have a temporary spare tire. Well everyone, I hope you enjoyed the in-depth look at the Mitsubishi Lancer Evolution MR. Be sure to stay tuned next time, leave a like and subscribe today, there's always a lot more where that came from. Take care everyone.